Thank you, Cody. Ron Burton is the 2013-2014 president of Rotary International, a service organization with over 34,000 clubs and over 1.2 million members around the world. A native of Oklahoma, Mr. Burton graduated from the University of Oklahoma with a Juris Doctor degree and became practicing attorney, a member of the Oklahoma Supreme Court Bar Association and the United States Supreme Court Bar. He has remained dedicated to his alma mater and served it as president of the University of Oklahoma Foundation, growing their endowment assets from $17.5 million to $890 million. As a Rotarian, Ron Burton has distinguished himself for community and international service, even in an organization whose motto is service above self. He is a model for the type of leadership we promote at Austin College, the servant leader. He has received all of the highest Rotary Service Awards, including the International Service Award for a Polio-Free World. He has been, since the 1970s, a part of Rotary's program to eradicate polio worldwide, with the goal that by 2018, no child should ever have to suffer this again. And if you've seen the ads, the program is this close. Ron Burton has traveled the globe, spreading the message of service to others in the areas of providing clean water, developing literacy, fighting polio, yet promoting peace. Traveling just a bit more than an Austin College student on Jan terms and study abroad, a Rotary president usually travels over 250,000 miles and visits 51 countries. Ron Burton has almost doubled that. And also, closer to home where Rotary was founded, Mr. Burton and his wife, Jetta, spearheaded a fund to preserve important historical landmarks because they know that the past can be powerful inspiration to the present and the future. Please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Ron Burton.
Thank you, Dr. Cape. Good morning, everyone. I thought I saw people out there. You know, I'm a pretty smart guy. I always get these speaking assignments before something really good happens. And I know that I am the only thing now standing between the graduates, the graduating class, with getting their degrees conferred, and the rest of their life. But you know, I am a Rotarian, and if you don't know anything else about Rotarians, and especially Rotarians who have been a district governors can talk incessantly. They remind me of an old pair of tennis shoes, sneakers, running shoes, whatever you call them. Everything's worn out except the tongue. And I'm here to tell you my tongue is in really good shape. It's great to be with you today on this beautiful campus, and the weather is cooperating with us. I know that those of you who are sitting there in robes are probably as warm underneath as I am. So we'll get on with the commencement address so we can get on with the fun of the rest of the day. President Haas, Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, staff, the very important parents, families and friends, and of course the most important people here today, the soon-to-be graduates of Austin College. Thank you for allowing me to share this important day in your life as you graduate from Austin College in the class of 2014. It's a particular honor for me to be here as president of Rotary International. I say that because when I looked on your website, I learned a lot about Austin College that I didn't know. And one is, I absolutely love your mascot, the kangaroo. And you're gonna have, I'm not sure I know how to do that sign. Can you do that for me? All right, I love it. But because you see, Jetta and I will leave Thursday for Sydney, Australia. The Rotary International Convention, my convention, is the 1st through the 4th of June in Sydney, Australia. So perhaps instead of saying good morning to you, I should have said good day. Do you use good day around here? It's okay. If you have a kangaroo as a mascot, you should be saying good day. I don't know how much you know about Rotary, what it does, and its history. But I hope you've at least heard of Rotary, and perhaps you've even seen a Rotary sign or a Rotary wheel somewhere here in Sherman or in your own home community. There are actually two very good clubs that meet here in Sherman each week. The Rotary Club of Sherman, which has been in existence since 1923, meets in the Sherman Municipal Building at noon on Tuesday. And the Rotary Club of Grayson County, which has been around since 1987, meets at Full Belly's Restaurant on the Square on Wednesday morning at 6:50. Those clubs are just two of over 34,000 Rotary clubs all over the world, where more than 1.2 million people get together every week with the goal of making their communities and this world better places to be. You know, again, as I was looking at your website, I wish I had had enough foresight to look at your website before I had to pick a theme for this Rotary year. My theme for the 2013-2014 Rotary year is Engage Rotary, Change Lives. As students at Austin College, have you ever heard something similar to that? My own feeling is that if you get serious about something in life, if you actually engage that thing, whatever it is, generally something happens. So my thought was that if I could get Rotarians to engage Rotary, we would be able to change even more lives than we change anyway. And as a matter of fact, I think that would apply to non-Rotarians as well. I do know that by helping others, lives are changed. But the most gratifying part of that to me is the fact that the life that changes the most is your own. What starts as an unselfish act of giving of yourself to benefit someone else actually ends up benefiting you the most. In some ways, you're committing an unselfish act for a selfish act, and you are the one that is blessed. And I know here at Austin College, you're encouraged to change lives, not only your own, but others, and you do that through hours and hours of community service. So it looks to me like, as I look at this graduating class, I'm standing in front of the next generation of Rotarians, and I welcome you to the greatest service organization in the history of the world. The Rotary motto is service above self. And with that in mind, every club decides what kind of service they want to engage in, both locally and internationally. It might be digging wells to bring clean water to villages that need it, or training midwives so that women have safer births, or building playgrounds in neighborhoods that don't have them. But the real beauty about Rotary is that every club's opportunity to help their own community and to join with other Rotarians from around the world exists. And when they join together, they can do larger, more long-term sustainable projects in those communities. As was mentioned in the introduction, for the last quarter of a century, Rotarians worldwide have joined together to eradicate the dreaded disease of polio from the face of the earth. Now, hopefully, none of you have ever had to deal directly with polio. And maybe you don't know a great deal about polio because it's been eradicated from the United States for several decades. But unfortunately, polio still exists in 3 endemic countries in the world: Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria. And if you've been following the news lately, I think you would be smart enough to realize that the world is not safe until the disease is totally eradicated. Since Rotary started this project in 1985, we have reduced the number of polio cases from 350,000 per year to 416 in 2013 and 77 this calendar year. Of course, thank you. We have some pretty good partners in this project. We have the World Health Organization. We have the Centers for Disease Control. We have UNICEF, and we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But the organization that has put the boots on the ground, that has actually given the polio drops to children, are the Rotarians. I've actually done that myself, and I can assure you that if you ever give a child those life-saving drops, you hold them in your arms and give them those life-saving drops, it will change your life. It just rips your heart out and makes you feel so good that you know this child will never suffer that debilitating disease. Our goal is 0 cases, and we continue to work diligently to fulfill that promise that we made to the children of the world of a polio-free world. You know, there are a lot of people out there who are trying to change the world, and that's a great thing. But what's really special about Rotary is that Rotary gives you a way to turn those dreams into reality. And that's something each one of you are getting ready to do, is to turn your dreams into reality. You've finished your college degree and you're heading for your next stage of your life. It could be graduate study, it could be a job, it could be trying to decide what you want to do next. I'm sorry, parents, that could be the case. But whatever it is, you'll do it better, you'll be happier in your lives, and you'll achieve more if you aren't living your lives just for yourself. At the end of the day, you will never regret choosing to do what's right instead of what's easy. And you'll never regret the time you spent helping our world be a better place. There are a lot of ways to achieve that. Rotary is just one way, but in my mind, it's a pretty amazing way. I've been a Rotarian since 1979. That was in the last century. And I know that's a long time, or quite a while, and most of you weren't even born then. But Rotary has been probably the greatest influence on my life, and it's the reason I'm standing here before you today. My day job for my career was as president of the University of Oklahoma Foundation. I spent some 40 years at the University of Oklahoma, and believe it or not, at that time, I know I went to at least 15 commencement ceremonies. That does not include my own. Anyway, when President Haas asked me to speak to you today, I thought back over all of those commencements, thought back trying to remember who the speakers were, trying to remember something inspirational that any one of them said. You know, I couldn't remember a thing. That doesn't surprise me because before we came out here just a few minutes ago, I talked to some of the graduates of Austin College, and we were talking about when they graduated from this institution. They couldn't remember who the commencement speaker was or what they said either. So I feel in pretty good shape. I'm not too worried about you remembering everything I say, but I do have one message for you when we finish here. You know, I went around to the 18th floor of World Headquarters in Evanston, Illinois for Rotary International and asked many of my colleagues there if they could remember anything about their commencements, first, second, third, or if they'd been at a college or university and attended a commencement as a employee or faculty member or whatever. They couldn't remember either, so, you know, I guess my expectations shouldn't be too high. But my goal today is to tell you something that I hope you'll remember down the line and something that perhaps you will find very useful in your daily lives. I want to talk to you just for a minute about the Rotary four-way test. Rotary was founded 109 years ago by a lawyer from Vermont named Paul Harris. He started practicing law right around the turn of the century, and he didn't feel too much at home in Chicago. He missed his family and friends. He missed people saying hello to him in the street. And he was having a hard time meeting anyone who shared his ideas on what was important in life. It seemed like everyone was too busy making a buck. Nobody seemed too interested in getting to know their neighbor or in helping each other out or doing what was right. He was especially bothered by a lack of something that he held very dear: ethical practices in business. So Paul decided to start a club. He invited 3 friends from different professions to come together and meet on February 23rd, 1905. It started out as a place for like-minded professionals, people who believed in honesty, hard work, and ethical behavior. The group decided to rotate the weekly meetings among their offices, and hence the name Rotary came to life. Pretty soon it turned into a service club, which in retrospect seems pretty much inevitable. About 30 years later, when Rotary clubs numbered in the thousands all over the world, Rotarians decided it was time to adopt a formal declaration of ethical practice. The four-way test was written by Rotarian Herbert J. Taylor when he was charged with turning a failing business around during the Great Depression. He did turn that business around by choosing what to do was right. And the four-way test goes like this: of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I've tried very hard to live by this test ever since I first heard it. I'll be honest with you, it can be very tough. But if you apply it to your daily life, I think you will find that it works. If you find yourself stuck between what's easy and what's right, or you aren't even sure what is right, the four-way test is a great place to get yourself unstuck. No frills, nothing complicated, just, is it the truth? Is it fair to everyone? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to everyone? If you can say yes to all four of these questions, you're doing okay. If you can't, well, I think you've got to go back to square one. So, if that's all you remember from what I say today, then I'll be pretty happy. But I know it's a busy day and there's a lot going on. And I won't hold it against you if you don't remember those four things a few years down the line. So I'll make it even a little simpler for you and say if you ever get stuck between what's easy and what's right, then go back to basics, something that I know that you've been taught from your parents and it's been reinforced here for you at Austin College. Very simply, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When people need help, give it. If someone's suffering, don't look the other way. Don't be afraid to make a difference. Don't be afraid of your own ability. You can do so much more than you think. All you have to do is read the paper or watch the news or even walk down a city street and you see just how many people there are in the world who need help. It's easy to focus on that, on how great the needs are, and on how much that we truly can't do a thing about. It's easy to get discouraged, and that's what a lot of people do. They say, whatever I can do is just a drop in the bucket, so why try at all? But that's not how we think in Rotary. And I don't think that's how graduates of Austin College think either. In Rotary, we know that everything we do makes a difference. We can't fix the whole world, and I wouldn't suggest that we try or that you should try. But that doesn't make what we can do any less valuable. If you find yourself thinking, what I do is just a drop in the bucket, I advise you to look at your parents as role models. I doubt that they ever said, I can't feed every child in the world, so there's no point in feeding you. It's not an attitude that makes a lot of sense. It's an attitude that you take when you don't want to face up to your potential. And it's true, as Mark Twain wrote, that at the end of your life, you regret the things you didn't do much more than the things you did. No one ever says at the end of their life, I wish I had done less for others and more for myself. And I can promise you that no one ever says, gosh, I wish I'd spent more time with my phone and less time with the people I love. So live your life without regrets. Care about others. Make a difference. Dream all the dreams you want, but guess what? Now it's time to get busy, turning your dreams into reality. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Godspeed to the graduates of Austin College of 2014.